Hi guys, welcome to class. We're going to get started right away in our specialty foam roller class. And there's no playlist included in today's class because we're going to be listening very deeply to our own selves. So we'll be diving deep into the stations of our vibrations and exploring what information and ingredients we have stored within ourselves. Now, the foam roller assists us in getting into a very deep release. So, as we've been speaking about these chemical reactions, we are intently and quite intensely going to be creating these chemical reactions, and gases will be releasing from the body as a result. So, this can come in different forms of releases, but also of pops in cracks in different areas as you're going to be giving yourself self-releases and self-massage. And so this is a beautiful practice that not only can you do if you're suffering from pain, but something that you can do in a minimum 2 to 4 times a week in a form of prehab to so prevent any pain. So if you're already experiencing chronic pain in your back, upper and lower, be very mindful and curiously ease your way into each one of these experiences through our postures today in different areas that we're going to be targeting, and really just take care of yourself. We're not trying to win any races or medals here. We want to take baby steps out of our comfort zone, finding those new edges, and notice and observing how we spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, as well as physically, then respond to these chemical reactions that we're creating. So we are in the Pisces season, and the Pisces is, they're the very creative friend. They're the very thoughtful friend. They're the friend that has the best ideas. And as a result of them being so creative and having this a large amount of water and air within their element, those that have this Pisces zodiac sign may find themselves, and these are the parts of ourselves that might be indecisive or overwhelmed or scattered and have a hard time finding a direction or making a decision. And so where we can feel the effects of this in our life and in the coming of age is figuring out our purpose and figuring out what brings us joy and what we're meant to share with the world. And so many of us, even my mom, just finally really stepping into that mode at 60 and putting all of her puzzle pieces together. So many of us might put a limit on to what stage and age you should have found that out by. And really the journey and the adventure of collecting all these parts of ourselves, learning about all these zodiacs, all the hours of the day and the months and how they contribute to making us whole, get diminished and in a way discredited. We lose track of what's actually meant to be this human experience, and we really dilute it and get stuck in these zones of comfort and convenience. And so we're going to ignite the Pisces energy within each one of us as we curiously explore, as well as dive deeper into our ideas and feelings that are stored within these different compartments of our body that are holding on to tension and hoarding parts of ourself that are reaping havoc on our body from not being able to flow. So we've got 2 different sizes of foam rollers here to give you an example of. And I know a lot of foam rollers, maybe one that you're using at home or out there, don't have any of this texture on the roller. And if you're working with a non-textured roller, that's fine as well. What the texture does is it actually acts like knuckles and fingers to be able to knead and really get into all these different nooks and crannies in which maybe your standard yoga and massage and other different practices that you've been already using to help alleviate pain aren't quite getting to that spot. I have found that foam rolling, as well as the deep tissue energetic releases that I received from Johnny, have really been a cherry to the very wide range of practices that I bring in to help heal all parts of my body. But once we get the idea, the thought, the feeling that's all stored within the cell, we need that physical release. So when we can assist ourselves in then releasing it from the physical body through self-massage and self-practices, that brings a full rounded out practice where we aren't reliant on any other form of care or healthcare. We can really manage our nervous systems and our full rounded healthcare within just our practices within our home. And so that brings a large amount of self-reliance and self-independence, and no longer this need to be needed by this societal pull that we think we consistently need different forms or different practices, and that we can't just have a do-it-yourself lifestyle, that we're meant to just learn one career or one practice and limit ourselves instead of learning all of the different things that are out there that are pulling us or drawing us, or maybe we wouldn't even think that we would enjoy doing. And realizing that that in itself is a part of this human experience, is to try things on, is to play. And so we're going to play today with our foam roller. Now, I prefer the larger roller. I find I can get more of a roll on top of it. I seem to struggle with the smaller size to really get mobility on it and to help manage myself moving forward and back to gain those motions that help to get into the tissues. And so the larger textured rollers have different areas where the texture can seem smoother on some parts and quite a bit more intense on other parts. And so just note that when you're working with the different areas of your body, that if you'd like less intensity, just go on the areas of your foam roller that have less texture. And so with that said, we are going to get started on our backs with our rollers. And have your roller close by as you come down. Tucking the chin into the chest, planting the soles of the feet onto the ground to support you, knees pointing towards the ceiling, and slowly rolling down, engaging the core, and making your way to the floor. Now, other tips that I found working with the roller is having if you have long hair, have it up and out of the way, because you will roll on top of it, and that can pull and cause pain, unnecessary pain. And wearing tighter clothing. I have a baggy or a looser shirt on. It tends to get caught when I'm rolling underneath the roller when I'm moving back and forth. It can cause issues. So the roller you're going to grab on the outsides with both hands and then just place really gently behind your neck. And again, being mindful if it's textured, if you'd like a little bit more intensity or not. Bringing the hands down beside you. And we'll just bring awareness to some safety cues before beginning our foam rolling class. As we close our eyes, soften our jaw, and just like on a standard vehicle, we'll switch gears, shifting into our subconscious, into a slower, more fluid, cycle of breath. Press the back of your neck and head into the foam roller to feel the pressure. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then soften as if you're melting. like an icicle outside. Turning into a pillow along the floor. Heavy bones. And then begin to either extend your feet out long in front of you, like so. Or soles of the feet together, knees in a butterfly position, curling the tailbone under, growing the spine long and slowly setting it back down as you splay the knees away from one another. The heel can draw closer to the root or extend farther away. And as you play with that, just find your sweet spot, your edge, which with our foam roller will be about 1.5 degrees out of our comfort zone. If the heels are farther away, you'll notice the stretch will move. It will migrate. And when you've released any fidgeting, and you found your first pose, bring your hands onto your abdomen. Allow your shoulder blades to roll down your back. And let gravity hold you. As you turn inward, Yinward. And we explore these, what we call darker aspects of ourselves. So the underlying ideas, and what is lying under our ideas is the beliefs that create them. And what this will form is your perspective, your sixth dimension, your view on fill in the blank, life, love, success, wealth, health, family, relationships, history. Now on your next inhale, if your legs are out long, draw your knees back up towards the sky and plant the soles of your feet into the earth. And if they're splayed out in butterfly wings, bring your hands down to your sides. And you can support them on either side of the outer thigh by drawing them up towards the ceiling and planting the sole of the feet back into the earth. And then press the soles of your feet into the earth. And on an inhale, lift your hips up towards the sky. And you're going to set your right hand underneath your tailbone. And then lower your hips down on towards your hand. And then draw that right arm even farther underneath you. Placing the palm underneath the left thumb cheek. And inhale your left arm up to the crown of your head, grabbing over to the right side of the head, and slowly draw it over to the left. Tucking the chin down towards the chest, and as if you're gazing into your left armpit. Breathing into the trapezius muscle. And floating your awareness to your perspective, your broadened view of life and love and fear and everything in between. On the next inhale, slowly release the head, turning it back to neutral. Palm will come down to support you on the left-hand side. Press down through the soles of the feet to lift the hips up, releasing the hands, setting it down, and then alternating. The left hand will go underneath the bum cheek, under the tailbone to begin with, and sliding it over to the right side to feel that stretch through the left shoulder. Turning your gaze slightly over to the left as you inhale the right arm up towards the crown of the head, reaching over to the left side, slightly pulling it down towards the right shoulder. And then take your gaze in towards your right armpit and breathe. Sending the breath directly into the area in which is speaking the loudest to you. And for some of us, that might be our minds. Our thoughts and ideas might be pulling us into to-do lists, what's next. And let's allow that mind to flow into a form of reflection over the last decades of your life. So however old you are, and however many decades are in that, starting at the beginning and traveling through your timeline. In this practice of yin, closing the eyes and gazing into the backs of the eyelids can assist you in shifting even deeper into the parasympathetic, which will allow the postures to penetrate even deeper, which will just provide more benefit. It's like asking for your treatment plan. How long will it take? Well, if you want the quicker plan, then you have to get all cylinders fired, allow your spiritual, your mental, your emotional, your physical, all which make up the ethical, to be involved and get to the root of the issue. That's the quick fix. Don't avoid, don't run away, face it. Allow it to move through you. And visualizing yourself like that bundle of all these different gases. And then go outside on a really windy day and imagine the air, the wind, the sun, the fire, the earth beneath you, to help move and migrate your internal waters, to clean and cleanse them of any toxicity. The water represents the relationship with self and others. Slowly release the hand underneath and on the crown of the head, turning the gaze back to neutral. Bring both hands onto the belly. And just reset into your own organic breath. Noticing and observing any responses or reactions from any layers of the system from these postures. So as we're constricting the cells, we'll be stirring up the memories, the ingredients stored inside, the information, which can stand for the informate ions. So the four mates, the basic four building blocks. Air, our ideas. Fire, our thoughts. Water, our feelings. And earth, our actions. From here, we're going to slowly draw our chin into our chest and begin to roll up, pressing through the forearms. Drawing our foam roller towards us. Setting our right forearm down and turning to a 45-degree angle. So we're not going to directly target the spine, for we never want to roll over the joints. That can cause damage. So at our 45-degree angle, with our weight on our right forearm and using the soles of our feet, we'll inhale to lift up our hips, feeling that now the weight of our own physical body on top of either the extremely textured or not so textured, if you're working with foam part of the roller. And then tiny motions pressing forward and back with your feet, targeting the side rib cage and just moving in smaller motions. And if you've noticed there's a spot where it's sticky or it feels extra tight or compact, pause there and you can start to move side to side to massage, while also directing your breath, a very long inhale through the nose and exhale out of the mouth into that area. We'll be here for a few more rolls. And then we're going to set down on our right bum cheek, stacking our legs and allowing them to float to the front of the mat, keeping the right forearm on the earth to support us, and propping the side body up on top of the foam roller. And you can play with how much weight you're allowing to put on, which will change the intensity and pressure. And then bring both arms down in front of you, where you can set your left hand down on your outer thigh. And wherever you are, tuck your chin into your chest. And we're going to breathe here. Targeting the breath, the oxygen into the side ribs. And clearing any static and gas that might be affecting us from being in the present moment, which can have an adverse effect on our perspective and our view of what's going on. When there's a lot of built up tension, emotion, unprocessed experiences, or missing blanks or gaps in our memories, this can cause the tension and the pain in the body. That's how your body's speaking to you. You're holding on to cells that are holding on to this information, ideas, thoughts, feelings, and actions that are vibrating at a lower rate. So the cells are not functioning properly. And as a result, the pain or the ailment or the imbalance that we will have a physical name for and label is occurring. So it's like a notification on your cell phone. Aches and pains in our body. We just have to learn how to communicate with them, understand them, and label them appropriately, so that our cellular system can digest and process the information and recycle and release what it no longer needs, which can be causing an excess or an imbalance or an obstruction within different systems. So on the next inhale, bring your hands down in front of you and slowly lift yourself up, turning back onto the soles of your feet, onto your bum, and finding your foam roller and turning to the left side, finding your 45-degree angle, bringing the left forearm down to support you, planting the soles of the feet into the earth, lifting your hips up till you feel your body weight over the roller on the desired area of the roller. And you can support yourself by using your hand and just grabbing onto your rib cage and slowly using the motion to take those tiny rolls over the ribs. And over the outer hip. As we release any blockages, any anxiety, a lack of pressure that has led to depression, stagnancy, stored in our cells. And then we'll come to a pause, set our bum down on the left cheek, stacking the legs, keeping them at a 90-degree angle, allowing them to flow over to the left-hand side, keeping the support of the forearm, and then finding an area in between maybe two ribs, the lower down on the outer hip. Find your sweet spot. Tuck your chin down into your chest. Close your eyes. And target the breath directly into that area of the body. Imagine it's like a big lung. And you're filling it up with your breath. And if you give the breath a color, and maybe a color popped up for you, and trust that. That I can offer you purple, which is the color of the 6th chakra, the 6th dimension, which represents our perspective. And imagine your breath, that purple hue, and float it down through the crown, through the forehead, softening the face, in the ears, down the neck, the throat, the shoulders, into the chest, and upper back, all the way down, swirling through the abdomen, and the lower back, all the way through the roots, deep into the knees, all the way to the toes. As you invoke and imagine and visualize this hue, that in itself has the ability to bring healing to the cells. Every color has its own vibration. And when we understand the vibration in which the color carries, we can utilize it in our day-to-day through design, what we wear. And we can better understand the colors that we resonate with and that we don't resonate with. And we start to learn more about our hue men. Inhaling and lifting yourself off the roller, coming back onto its seat. Bringing the roller out in front of you. Slowly lowering down onto your backs. Lifting through pressing your soles of your feet into the earth, your hips up to the sky, and setting the roller directly under the tailbone. So that forms the diamond shape right under the lower back. We're going to press down through the soles of our feet and our upper body, our shoulders, keeping our neck and nose in line with our navel. And then from here, we can begin to roll using our feet and the help of our hands and our head. We'll roll down the bum. Ooh, I had a nice crack, and you might too. And then up towards the lower back, not going past the solar plex or midpoint to protect the joints, and then rolling back down to the edge of the cheeks towards the glutes. Just feeling any tension or stickiness. And remember, if you find it, pause, and you can go side to side, massaging. And then we're going to find directly under our tailbone, and we're going to slide towards the left side of the foam roller, and then use your hands on either side of you and start to straighten your right leg, and then just shift over onto the outer side of the right hip, and you'll feel the tension begin to build as you target that outer area. And then again, you can use your feet to roll, and your hands and your head, front to back and side to side. So for those of you that are chronic pain, if the roller is too intense, you can lay a blanket down on top of it as well. These are ways to just lessen the intensity and add modifications. And then really focus by closing the eyes, allowing the transmission to shift gears, using these tools to assist. And then targeting the breath. And then we'll come to neutral. Bend the right knee, shift onto the right side of the foam roller. Straighten the left leg and shift, turning onto the outer edge of the left hip. Using the knife edge of the left foot, the sole of the right foot, to create the motion of rolling back and forth, creating a self-massage and a self-release. If you found an area that you want to pause, allow yourself to do so. Sending breath. And coming back to a neutral spine. Press down through the soles of the feet. Lift your hips up to the sky and reset onto the foam roller directly under the tailbone. And then from here, we're going to cross our right leg over our left leg, creating a figure four. The right ankle will rest on top of the left knee. Mindfully open the right knee, pressing it away from you. Press down through the left sole of the foot and the back of the head to balance you, and through the shoulder blades, which you might also want to readjust by pressing through the back of the head and the sole of the foot connected to the earth, lifting the shoulders up, spreading them nice and wide, rolling your neck even longer, and setting the back down on the earth. From here, you can play with lifting the left knee up towards you. And the closer you'll draw it in towards the chest, you'll notice the roller will start to move down the lower back. And like a lever, you can play with that to find your sweet spot, your edge. On the next exhale, lower the left foot down to the earth. Bring your arms out wide like airplane wings and give the motion as if you're lowering the left sole of the foot down to the earth. The right sole of the foot down to the earth on the left-hand side. And just feel that through the side bodies. Allow that stretch to give you a yummy release, some relief from any tension or pain you've been carrying. And then slowly drop back up. Pressing the knee away from you one more time, allowing the weight hang heavy over the foam roller. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the chest, the very crown, the brain. And exhale some debris. Release the cross of the right leg. Inhaling the left leg, crossing it over. Bending at the knee, creating your figure four. The left ankle sits on the top of the right knee. Press down to the right sole of the foot and the back of the head to lift the shoulders up and readjust them. Spreading them wide, creating space in the upper cavity of the back. And on your next inhale, press the left knee away from you, creating tension. And then exhale, you can slowly draw the right knee up towards you. Noticing how that draws the roller down the back. And mindfully moving, managing each motion. And noticing any emotions in the form of memories. That might be arising. Noticing your subconscious mind giving you any subliminal cues as to any areas in your life that need processing. When you found your sweet spot, just pause there for a moment. And that might be with your sole of your right foot completely connected to the earth. That might be enough for you, and that's okay. Being okay with where we are at allows our nervous system to relax. Knowing we have the power to change anything through our ideas, thoughts, feelings, and actions by shifting our beliefs can give us a beautiful dosage of contentment. I have the power to shift what is no longer resonating with me if I'm willing and able to find the root. And all contributing factors. If you haven't already, lower the right sole of the foot down to the earth. Release the cross of the left leg and take a few more rolls through the spine and the bum, the lower back. And then from here, we're going to grab the roller with either sides of our hands, lift our hips up to the sky, put the roller underneath our glutes, bring our forearms down beside us, tuck our chin into our chest, and just come up to our forearms, where we're going to bring the roller completely underneath our right leg, our right glute, keeping the left knee standing tall, extending straight through the right leg, and pressing up through the forearms and the left sole of the foot. And we're going to roll from our glute towards our knee. From the glute to the knee. Balancing on the forearms. And then as you find any stickiness, just massaging into it. So recently I went for my dental appointment in which I was set up for Invisalign, a form of aligners. And the type of technology they were using takes 6 1,000 pictures per second. So we'll continue to roll back and forth. And then once you find that sweet spot, lower your sit bone down to the earth and let your leg and gravity hang heavy over the foam roller. Tuck your chin into your chest and just pause here for a moment. And in front of me was the screen in which I could watch as the camera rolled over my top and bottom jaw, side, the front, taking all of the images that were then pixelating in front of me to show me the whole picture, my whole jaw. And as we do practices like this, intentionally targeting and researching and reflecting, we are essentially gathering the whole picture. And slowly release the leg by bending the knee, switching the roller onto the other side, straightening the left leg, lifting up through the forearms and the right sole of the foot, and rolling from glute to right before the knee. So during the process, at the end we noticed there's a few holes or gaps in the picture. And so the orthodontist had to go back in and take a few more strides over the jaw to find the missing holes and gaps and allow them to fill on the screen in front of me. So we can observe and reflect upon our memories and our lives just the same by taking a step back and allowing it to kind of form in front of us like a TV movie film. And as we watch and settle on one spot here, releasing down onto the bum and tucking the chin into the chest, finding that sweet spot. And we are actually willing to go in and see all the underlying energies. What was in all the nooks and crannies of my teeth that I can't reach with the brush because of the overcrowding. Similar to the excess amount of false ideas or thoughts and emotions that we have taken on from our experiences, labeling things incorrectly, not having all the holes and gaps, the contributing factors to the history or her story, his story, their story filled in. And as a result, we cannot then process things appropriately. And we get stuck or traumatized or forgotten or lost or neglected at certain parts of our timeline. Bending the left knee and slowly coming off the forearms by lifting up and bringing the foam roller to the side. Stretching the legs out in front of you, grabbing your roller and bringing it the long ways in between your legs. And you can come to a wide stance in your legs to make space for the roller, but also to take a more relaxed forward fold. And from here, we'll straighten through the legs. Inhale our arms up to the sky. And then begin to bring the palms together, exhaling the hands down the midline. And then flip your palm forward and dive towards and over your foam roller. Now, for some of you, we might want to take a very modified, restorative forward fold so we can stand our roller tall and then just rest our foreheads on top of it, which will also be an acupressure point on the third eye. And you can press it into your eyebrows. Rolling into the face. And for those of you, if your forward fold is a little bit more intense, you can just put the roller down and do the same. Then coming all the way down. And giving yourself a face massage. Inhale, lengthen the spine, reach the heart forward wherever you are. And then exhale, melt into the pose, tuck the chin into the chest. Fold over your prop, your roller. And allow yourself to travel through your perspective. Your understandings. Of who you are and why you're here. On earth, that is. Inhale through the belly, filling the ribs, that purple hue, into the heart, all the way into the brain and out through the crown. And exhale, let something go. So I can see clear now, the rain is gone. The rain would be this fake emotion that we hold on to. And these fake emotions, for example, those that stem from fear, like jealousy, resentment, comparison, competition, they all stem from imbalanced or false ideologies about this human experience, a limited view. So if we can simply allow our perspective about our own selves to be understood, that what is stored within them is manifesting all that you experience. That in itself will raise our vibration. For it is of truth. The cells respond to universal truth. All sides. And the biggest, most broadest picture. The root. Inhale, filling through the belly. The ribs. The heart. All the way into the crown, holding here the purple hue. Relax the shoulders. Smile. And exhale it out. Then on your next inhale, begin to wiggle the toes and the fingers. Start to sway side to side. And slowly start to roll up to a neutral spine. And you can take your foam roller off your mat and come all the way into a seated position, whichever feels best for you. We'll seal our practice by extending long through the spine, grounding through the sit bone, and keeping this state of observation, of willingness, as we exit the practice. Say, we're not actually leaving the practice. We are continuing on living from this state. For when we do, we allow more time, more space for ourselves to respond, for ourselves to process, and we bring more balance to our nervous systems, which have been programmed very dominantly into a rat race lifestyle. So to retrain that will take some patience, a dash of compassion, a sprinkle of willingness, and a bucketful of perseverance. Because when there is a will, there is a way. And you always have that will. That is your own inner desire and intention to expand and explore. And you have your birthright to do that. So during this next week, I, in a sweet way, challenge you to continue on in this state. To take your power back. And if anything externally tries to get in the way, distract, pull, push, know that it's the old parts of you, your old habits, your old patterns that are feeling lonely without you. Their misery now wants your company, and you go, I'm developing new healthy patterns, new habits, and giving myself the time and space to have a fresh perspective on everything in between light and love and dark and fear. And with your next inhale, bring awareness to your third eye by sending the breath directly there. And visualize an extra eye up there. And notice what color it might be, if it's the same as your other two, or if it glows with a different hue. And without being freaked out by your own power, and your own abilities, and your own cellular makeup and concoctions and hues, trust that anything you've experienced or saw or felt is your body talking to you, showing you, and allowing you to reflect on where it's at. And so taking the time to revisit yourselves and giving yourselves your own energy will benefit you and everyone involved. And with that, we can bow our heads in prayer position. Namaste. Thanking Mother Earth for letting us play another day. And I encourage you to journal your experiences